Hi guys, today we're going to tackle the final boss of Russian pronunciation, the letter U. Well, I exaggerated a little bit because in reality it's pronounced just as U, but yeah, you have to really feel it down in your stomach. In this video I'm going to give you some tips on how to locate that sound in your mouth. Let's get into the thick of this, right? Some people compare the short sound in words like thick, lips, tip, to this sound. While they're certainly closer, they sound actually much more alike than, for example, if you had to compare to e. Definitely this sounds closer to but it's like a lazy person solution, and it's not correct, I would say.
Lips. Lips.
Lips.
And here is me trying to pronounce the word lips with an sound. Lips. Lips.
Lips.
Lips.
Lips.
Lips.
Lips.
Lips. My name is Pasha Kovalenko. I teach Russian for English speakers. I make my lessons as engaging, as interactive as possible. I combine student books with real life text, with cartoons, with movies, with memes, with books. I try to make sure that there is emotional response in my students, because I believe that when we are emotionally engaged, that's where we can learn, when we actually can learn stuff. You have emotional connection to certain words, certain phrases. In what situations would that phrase be used? Like, we play different situations where you might use this case or this grammar. So yeah, I try to make my lessons as engaging as possible. And if that resonates with you, please do reach out via email that I left in the description of this video, or via Telegram. But before we're gonna go into the pronunciation practice, I absolutely recommend you to do a small, like a vocal warm-up, like a small warm-up for the muscles of your face, of the muscles of your jaw. I usually do chewing motions. I imagine that I'm chewing like a huge piece of gum that I try to move my tongue. I kind of scrape the kind of my mouth with my tongue. I again open my mouth in all different sorts of shapes. I recommend, before you do any pronunciation practice, do this small warm-up. I guarantee you that you'll feel much more relaxed. It will feel much easier to try and achieve new sounds and new patterns of movement in your mouth. I absolutely recommend doing that. So every time you want to do like pronunciation practice, like with one of my videos, for example, as a starting point, I want you to take a look at the sound that American English speakers make when they pronounce words like good, look, would, and should. Of course, I have a Russian accent, so of course I'm not able to translate these sounds as purely as an American speaker would. But to the best of my ability, I try to, and from what I've heard, from native English speakers, this sound begins in your abdomen. You have to really, it's like a push from your abdomen. You see, your mouth is not doing much. Like, your mouth, there's just like a square shape that lets the air out, but there's not much going on with your tongue, with your lips. It's mostly your abdomen that is working. Good. Look. You see, feel this push in your abdomen. I understand, for example, if you come from maybe different backgrounds, from maybe you speak English with a different accent, then maybe it'll be more difficult to access that. Yeah, let's use this abdomen push as a starting point for this sound. This is also, it starts really, really deep within you. This it's a really, really deep sound. It's not like a really surface sound like it starts really, really deep within you. So that's why I think it's close to this good, look. Then I want you to think of the letter E, right? Just the letter E. So you started with this push, good, look, Then try to use this push to pronounce the letter E. So it becomes something like, E. It's a deep sound. You're engaging your abdominal muscles. So it's like a bit it has a really strong attack. It's a really concentrated sound. It's not like wishy-washy. It's not airy. It's a really pointed sound that you need to really focus your abdomen muscles to pronounce. Then you need to move your tongue back, and you need to move your jaw slightly forward. So think about the letter E. You move your tongue slightly back, and you move your jaw slightly forward. So you see there's more space in your mouth. There is more space for air to go through. So your tongue goes back. And that's how we get Why am I moving my jaw forward a little bit? It's because this sound resonates with the bottom of my jaw, with my bottom teeth. When I pronounce it, see, I can feel a clear resonance here, like somewhere in my chin, in my jaw here, with my bottom part of my mouth. When you move your jaw slightly forward, you can clearly, it's easier to feel this resonance. It's just easier for air to reach that and kind of to create that space that will later on create this sound. So if you think about, again, find this push in your abdomen, find the E shape, and then move your tongue back and your jaw slightly forward, so it becomes Another point of reference that I want to bring to explain how to pronounce this sound is an example of my little sister. I have a sister who is 12 years younger than me, and I remember when she was, I believe, 1.5 years old, like maybe 2 years old, or I believe a bit earlier. She wasn't verbal yet. She wasn't able to speak at that age. And wherever she was upset about something, wherever maybe someone took something from her or didn't give something that she wanted, she would clench her fists and she would put her jaw forward and she would go like She would exactly make that really, like this guttural sound, this really strong pointed sound, like That's how she showed her anger, her frustration, with this sound. Let's clench our fists. Let's again feel this like frustration in your like stomach, and then push your abdomen muscles inside to make this clear sound. And again, jaw forward, and then we find this like You see, I understand that it sounds comedic, or like it sounds like funny, it looks funny, and I understand that maybe you're a serious person who doesn't want to spend their time doing some silly. We're here for deep phonetic research. Like I'm not gonna play like a toddler. With this kind of mentality, it's gonna be really hard to improve your phonetics, and I believe like language on like a larger scale. You have to do it with me. You have to pronounce it with me, right? Otherwise, you're not gonna make any progress. If you're just gonna like watch this video and then say, well, I got it. I think I got the idea, and then just keep scrolling and keep going, I'm not sure you're gonna like improve that aspect of your pronunciation. You have to really repeat it after me. You have to really go with me into this process. So like again, we clench our fists. We feel how our abdomen muscles contract and make this move our jaw forward, and we make this sound. Probably gives you like a caveman vibe, but we need to catch the essence of the sound, because it is really primal. It's really primal. It starts deep in your body, and we usually associate this kind of this muscles with exactly like anger or something like that, or like this is my territory, like this is things like that. So especially if you if you speak with accents that tend to resonate more like at the upper part of your like face or your head, like for example like British accents, you really have to try to find this like abdominal like movement of your abdomen that will help you achieve this sound. We found this this push in your abdomen. We find the E, which move our tongue back, and we move our jaw slowly forward so that there is more space, that you're able to resonate, like the resonance is able to go like at the resonate off your jaw, and so you have this right? Again, at first, exaggerate. Please exaggerate. I am really asking you to like be like the caveman, the cave movement, that whatever you feel like it person would say this sound. But you need to make this sound. Like at first you have to exaggerate. Then later on you can dial it back and just relax and pronounce it in a more kind of normal way. But when you're just learning it for the first time, maybe it's one of the first attempts to pronounce this, to master this sound, I do recommend to exaggerate, to go like full throttle, to just try to, just go to the extremes, push it to the limits. Like, how much can you make it sound like? How much can you make, right? Let's try this. Let's make it as loud as possible. Again, do practice it in front of your phone or your computer. Do try to pronounce it with me. And now let's take a look at some words that have Мы. 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 Мы пошли. Мы пошли. Мы пошли. We're going somewhere. We're going. Мы пошли. Мы пошли. Вы. 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 Вы слышали новости? 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 Try to say it faster. Try to say it slower. Вы слышали новости? Вы слышали новости? With different intonation. Surprised. Вы слышали новости? Excited. Yeah, play with different intonations so that this sound has connection to different intonations. Вы слышали новости? Весы. 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 Поставь на весы. Поставь на весы. Please put it on the on scales. Put it on the scales. Поставь на весы. Notice that it's an informal поставь, not поставьте. It's an imperative, an informal imperative. Рыба. Yeah, this is, we're getting into the R of this. Рыба. 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 Рыбу купил. Рыбу купил. Рыбу купил. Рыбу купил. Рыба. Пытаться. 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 Антон пытается дозвониться до Миши. 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 Then pay attention to how I said the word Миши. Миши. If you notice how it's spelled with me, esh, and then there is e. But do notice how I pronounce it. I say Миши. I don't say Миши. I say Миши. Миши. If there is a sound, we spell it with e if there is a sh or zhe. So a lot of words like this, жить, like машина, шина, they all will be pronounced with the sound, but they're going to be spelled with an e. When we go to like our junior school, we even learn this rule. Жи, ши, пиши с буквой и. Жи, ши, пиши с буквой и. And it's because we need this rule because in our minds, like children when they're like only starting to learn Russian spelling, they tend to write this sh. They tend to write this I after sh. So because it's pronounced like машина, so their intuition tells them to just write it as машина, right? That's how it's pronounced. But according to the Russian spelling, it should be spelled with an e. So that's why we have this rule. Жи, ши, пиши с буквой и. Even though it's pronounced with the I sound, it is spelled as e. Пиши. 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 Не пиши здесь. Не пиши здесь. Не пиши здесь. Да не пиши здесь. Не пиши здесь. Don't write there. Don't write in there. Не пиши здесь. Не пиши. Жизнь. 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 Also notice that this is a zh. It is spelled with an e, but it's pronounced as u. Жизнь. 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 Жизнь интересная штука. Жизнь интересная штука. Жизнь интересная штука. Жизнь интересная штука. Большие. You see there's a мягкий знак. L becomes softer. There's a palatalization. Большие. 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 Штаны мне большие. Штаны мне большие. Штаны мне большие. Штаны мне большие. So these pants are big for me. Штаны мне большие. Do leave comments and let me know which explanation you felt like it explained it better to you, which explanation, which like little point help you get there better. Maybe before we were trying to attempt this sound, what was missing? Like, do you feel like it's movement of your jaw, the movement of your tongue? Maybe it's the push in your abdomen, or maybe you feel like you cannot reach that like movement in your abdomen. Like, do let me know, like, if you're struggling, if you're still struggling with this sound. I'll be curious to hear your opinion, or maybe like how you would explain, like, if you're like if you're like a Russian learner and you feel like your is pretty good, do share in the comments which is the tip that you would give to someone who is also speaks your native language but also learns Russian and they're still struggling with the. What advice would you give to them? How would you explain this pronunciation to them? Like, imagine if you're talking to yourself like from the past that doesn't know this letter, how to pronounce this letter. How would you explain it to them? I'll be really curious to hear it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. I'm making videos every week. Do subscribe if you like the way that I'm teaching Russian. Stay tuned for more videos, and goodbye.